Ever wondered who really controls the speed of your internet? Well, today we're going to break down a concept that's right at the heart of that question. It's a term you've probably heard thrown around a lot, but it can feel kind of hidden in technical jargon: net neutrality. Look, at its core, this entire massive debate really just boils down to this one question. Should your internet provider be allowed to create a fast lane for websites that can afford to pay for it and, leave everyone else stuck in the slow lane?
Here's a simple way to think about it. Imagine the internet is a giant public highway. Net neutrality is basically the idea that every car, from a huge corporate delivery truck to your little hatchback, has to follow the exact same rules of the road. No one gets to pay a fee to get their own special, super fast lane.
Okay, so to really get into the weeds of the arguments on both sides, we first have to be super clear on the definition. What exactly is net neutrality? So this term, it was actually coined way back in 2003 by a law professor named Tim Wu. And the principle is pretty straightforward. Your internet provider, your Comcast, your Verizon, whoever you use, they have to treat all the data flowing through their network pipes the same. They shouldn't be allowed to slow down your Netflix stream just to make their own streaming service look better, or block some app because it competes with one of theirs. And, this idea isn't really new. It's actually baked into the original design of the internet. It's something called the end-to-end principle. The idea was that the network itself should just be a dumb pipe. Its only job is to pass data along, without looking inside it or making any judgments. All the smarts are supposed to be at the ends, on your computer and on the server you're connecting to. So messing with that is a really fundamental change to how the internet was built to work. So, what we're really talking about here are two totally different visions for the future of the internet. On one side, you've got an open internet, a level playing field where new ideas and new businesses can all compete fairly. And on the other, you've got a closed internet, where the big providers basically act as gatekeepers, deciding which services get priority and which ones are left to struggle. All right, let's start by digging into the case for net neutrality. Why do its supporters believe it's so absolutely essential for the future of the web? For the people who support it, it all comes down to one thing: control. They argue that if you don't have these rules, internet providers become these incredibly powerful gatekeepers. They could slow down their business rivals or even block political voices they don't agree with. And that hurts both free speech and innovation. I mean, how is the next big startup supposed to compete if it can't afford to pay the toll for the fast lane? And as legal scholars like Lawrence Lessig and Robert McChesney have put it, this isn't just about business, it's about democracy. They're making the case that a free and open internet is absolutely critical for having a wide range of ideas out there and for preventing a few huge companies from controlling what we all see and hear. And here's a really interesting twist. It's about psychology. Research actually shows that the faster our internet connection gets, the less patient we become with anything that feels slow. And supporters of net neutrality say this is a huge risk, because if a fast lane exists, our tolerance for the regular lane is just going to plummet. Any new service that can't afford to pay up for that top speed will feel broken to us, which could pretty much shut it out of the market before it even has a chance. But of course, that is only half the story. So let's flip the coin and look at the case against net neutrality, because opponents argue that these rules, even if they sound good, could actually do more harm than good. Opponents' arguments really circle around investment and, believe it or not, a different kind of innovation. Their claim is that if ISPs can't charge more for premium services, they're going to have way less incentive to spend the billions of dollars it takes to build out faster, better networks like fiber optics. They also say it's just heavy-handed government regulation for a problem that doesn't really exist, and that it stops them from offering cool new services, like maybe a super low-latency connection specifically for competitive online gaming. And you've got big names in tech, like Netscape founder Marc Andreessen, who makes this investment argument really directly. He basically says, look, building and maintaining these massive networks is insanely expensive. If companies can't get a return on that investment through things like premium tiers, he argues the investment will just dry up. And that would leave all of us with slower internet in the long run. And then, of course, there's the money argument. See, to enforce net neutrality, the government often has to classify broadband as a public utility, kind of like old-school phone service. Well, a study from the Progressive Policy Institute suggested this could open the door to all sorts of old taxes and fees, potentially hitting consumers with an extra $11 billion a year. So you have these two powerful competing visions for the internet. And this whole debate isn't just theoretical. It actually came to a head in a really big way that has shaped the rules we all live by today. You can really see how this debate just escalated over time. After the term was coined in 2003, we started seeing real-world cases.
like when the FCC ruled against Comcast back in 2008. But the real turning point was in 2015. That's when the FCC went all in and classified broadband as a utility-like service, which gave it the power to enforce really strong net neutrality rules. Now, ever since then, that decision has been a total political football, getting reversed and debated constantly, which is why we're still talking about it today.
And all of this, everything we've talked about, it brings us right back to the fundamental question at the heart of this entire debate. What is the internet? Is it an essential public good, like water and electricity, that everyone should have equal access to? Or is it more like a private service, like cable TV, where companies can compete by offering all sorts of different packages and tiers? The way we answer that single question, well, that's what will define the future of the internet for all of us.